with understanding insulin resistance. So, look, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nutritionist. I'm just a woman who got really sick, like many of you have, and I found a way to get better when all of those doctors, nutritionists, gym guys, everybody who was trying to give me all this information couldn't help me, didn't understand what was happening. And so now I'm here to share that information with you all so that hopefully you don't go through all the stuff that I went through, that you can get your health back, that you can understand why you're ill and what's happening, why you have weight gain, why you have high blood pressure, why you have joint problems, why you have gut problems, why you have allergy problems. All of this stuff links back to insulin resistance. In fact, metabolic scientists, specialists in the field are saying that almost every disease and disorder that we suffer with today that's lifestyle related comes from insulin resistance or is linked to insulin resistance. That's a pretty big link up. So if with one thing, we could start addressing a majority of our health issues. If we could start feeling better by doing this one thing, which is addressing insulin resistance without excess medications, without all of these crazy calorie counting, increase your exercise, do all of this stuff, eat twice every 2 meals, every 2 hours, do all of that stuff. You don't have to do that. If you could live a real life and have a hope to have your health back, would you wanna? Because I sure did. So, yeah, 2 years ago, I was sick. I was about 270 pounds. I couldn't go up and down stairs. I had a walker. I had a cane. I had disability plates on my car. I was no longer working in healthcare because I couldn't stand. I couldn't do a number of the things that I needed to do to be effective, and it was crushing me, much less the fact that I was depressed and anxious. I was having bleeding teeth and gums. I was having hair falling out, and my eyesight was lost, and I couldn't lose the weight no matter what I did. Plus, anxiety and depression was setting in. So, does anybody ever feel like, no matter what you do, you just can't lose weight? No matter what you do, you're anxious, you're depressed, you're tired all the time, and you're just not getting better. Maybe you've gone to the doctor and you just aren't getting answers that you need. So that's why I'm here. And it just triggered something for me. But every once in a while, considering the thousands of people who comment and take their time out of their day to talk with me about stuff, every once in a while I get somebody who's mad, like, you're not a doctor, you don't get to talk about this. I'm like, wrong. I'm a human being who suffered and got better. I have every right to talk about it. In fact, I was just listening to Dr. Pardeep give a talk earlier today, and he said that very thing, the same thing that I'm talking about. We have to start becoming our best advocates and stop giving away the most precious resource we have, which is our health. So when we're telling other people to here's my health, take care of it for me, we're giving ourselves away. We're giving the biggest piece of our entire life away. Without your health, you really can't make wealth. You don't have healthy relationships. You got to take care of your health first. And most of us know this. We know that our health has to come first, and yet we're not taking care of it. We're not addressing it. And we're in this paradigm right now where we just want to give away everything about anything that has to do with responsibility for us to someone else to deal with. And as a result, we're having tons of dysfunction, especially in our health, and it's got to stop. I'm just going to be plain and simple. It's got to stop. So thank you, Cynthia. I'm glad you agree. And that's one of the ways how I got better, even when doctors weren't telling me what I needed. When I was going in and finding out that I was sick and I was frustrated and my blood pressure wasn't getting under control, I was on a continual search for something that would help me. So you guys, I did berberine, I did the black seed oil, I did the berries, I did all the stuff. I had and I still have wild blueberries in my fridge because they're an amazing source of nutrition. I did all the shakes, I did all the things, and I wasn't getting better. And doctors were frustrated. And a gym guy, who's an amazing man, by the way, was like, hey, Misha, look, I take care of bodybuilders. This is my lifestyle. I'm going to write you a workout program. I'm going to write you a food program. You follow it, and I'm going to tell you you're going to get better. So guess what? We followed that. Macros, everything to the T. A couple of months later, I'm like, hey, I'm not losing weight. I'm not really getting better. What gives? And he just shook his head like the doctors had, like everyone else had, and walked away saying, I don't know. I've never had anybody like you. So one thing I want you guys to understand is that our health is really driven more by our hormones than anybody is addressing. Insulin is a hormone, so it's like I call it a granddaddy hormone. It's the one hormone that has precedence over everything else that we do, that we produce, whether it's our hunger and satiety hormone, whether it's our thyroid hormones, whether it's our sex hormones, on down the line. If insulin is in control, all those other things start to be defunct. So it really is, our health really comes down to our hormones for the most part. I'm not going to be like everybody, but most of us are dealing with hormonal imbalance. And it starts with this imbalance of insulin that started with our food being changed and what we're given as an environment for our food and our lifestyle changing so much that we're getting sicker by the day. That's not a conspiracy. That's just what it is. There's been so much science that proves that. And we've kind of been batted around like this tennis ball because we're told, Ansel Keys says, oh, fats are so bad for you. And then we go low carb, and then it works for a minute, and then we're starting to get fatter and heavier and sicker. And then we're like, okay, well, maybe we got to cut back on the carbs, and we're going to do keto, and and we just keep getting bounced around. So number one, all that stuff with Ansel Keys and the fats, there was no scientific proof to that. There was no scientific proof to that. We need healthy fats. And what we're being sold, okay, stop and think about it for a minute. When we're told what's healthy for us, is that coming from some nutritionist or doctor or somebody coming online and producing commercials that tell you what's healthy for you, what's going to make you better? No, it doesn't. What you're being sold is from the food industry. They're the ones who are trying to tell you, oh, eat this cereal because it has more fiber in it. Eat that because it has more iron in it. Eat whatever because it's got more protein in it. But yet they're covering up the fact that they're using these crappy oils. They're using this tons of sugar in their processing. And if they've removed that, they've replaced other things. So who's telling you to eat all of these things that are so damaging for you? Is it doctors and nutritionists, or is it the food industry? Who's telling you to eat every 2 hours? Is it doctors and nutritionists, or is it the food industry? And do you know that the doctors and nutritionists, most of their education comes from books that are written by the food industry? So we're in this negative feedback loop, right? Where we're just not getting good information, and we're kind of being, I feel like, sold down the river, and it's got to stop. So first off, we've got to stop eating all the time. We just do not need all these snacks. We do not need all of this food. And I'm starting to put that in place. My grandson was over this weekend, and I'm like, you know what, Misha, you talk about this stuff all day, and yet you go buy snacks for your grandson. So I cleaned up my fridge, I cleaned out everything, and he came over and he's like, I'm hungry, Nan. I'm like, okay, go check. There's this, and this that are healthy snacks in the fridge if you really feel like you're hungry. Now he's younger and more active, so he's burning off that more than an adult will. But we have to understand in history, like when I was growing up, we didn't have snacks. If I went to my mom and asked her for a snack when I was younger, I would get told to wait till my lunch. I was going to ruin my lunch. I was going to ruin my dinner. I was going to ruin whatever. And all of a sudden, we're being told that to fix this metabolic disorder that started when Ansel Keys took away healthy fats because he sold us down that river, then they started saying eat every 2 hours. That's going to bump up your metabolism. That's going to keep your metabolic fires burning. And actually, it does not. What it does is it spikes your insulin. It creates too much of that hormone in your system because you're constantly eating. I'm going to explain in a minute why I say that, why this is happening. It's not just a factor of you eating and everything. There's a whole chain of events that goes on. And we're all aware that there's a chain of events that go on. Cynthia, I missed your comment. So look, I get this question every once in a while. This protocol that I do you have to take it forever? I will be taking it every day for the rest of my life. Now that I understand about the food industry and what's happened to our food and how defunct it's become, do I ever want to go back to the woman who had diabetes, who had neuropathy, who had joints that were failing, who had gut issues out the yang and the yin, who had hair falling out, who had teeth that were bleeding all the time, who had cognition dysfunction, anxiety, depression, sleep apnea, cramping in my legs, muscle pain, all of that. Do I ever want to go back to that? Knowing what I know now, no. So if you want to keep your health healthy, you have to address what's missing in our diet. And that's what the protocol does. So in short, yes, I'm going to be doing it the rest of my life because I know I'm not getting it from the foods that we're eating now. Now, if we had some big epiphany, some apocalyptic thing where our food went back to what it was, what it should be, then I wouldn't need it. But is that likely? Are we likely to overcome the food industry and turn our food back around? Are we likely to say, hey, I like my carrots thinner, more bitter, more chewy. I don't want them big and plump and juicy and whatnot. We went from apricots and peaches that were about the size of this to about the size of my fist because we decided we needed something more juicy and delectable. And so the food industry, in part, I'm not going to bastardize them completely because they've given us what we asked for. Have we been trained to ask for that? Kind of, yeah. Did they give us what we asked for? Yes, we did. So now we're in this cycle where we're sick all the time. And it really does come down to our food. So all of these diseases and disorders that I talk about are linked back to this one thing, and you cannot fix it. You guys, all of these people who are talking about Mounjaro, metformin is probably the best of them all, but Mounjaro, Trulicity, semaglutide, all of that stuff, they are medications. They are not addressing the root cause. People are getting sicker. So people are saying like, oh yeah, I have all this great weight loss. You're not hearing about the people that I've heard from that have thyroid disorder, that have kidney disorder, that have liver disorder, that have other things happening. And now once they're no longer satiated by that drug, they're either getting a higher and higher dose. And then one woman earlier was saying that her kidneys are now failing because they keep upping her dose of those GLP-1 active agonists that are forcing your cells to be more insulin sensitive so they can take in the insulin, and it's forcing you to produce more insulin to deal with the sugar in your system. Why does nobody ever just say, reduce the sugar? Reduce how the sugar hits your system. Let's start there instead of forcing your body into a system that it doesn't like, that it doesn't want to do, that's not natural to it for a good reason. Why aren't we just addressing the fact that the real problem is sugar, and that no matter how healthy we think we're eating, that those foods are converting to sugar too quickly and it's making us sick. So Sana, I'm going to show you in just a minute what I do. It's helped my fatty liver start to reverse. That's helped my gut health. I had uncontrolled IBS 2 years ago, and I still do if I eat the wrong foods. Now I know. Now I can tell immediately if I've gotten a hold of unhealthy foods. So we're going to go over that in a second. But I just want you guys to really understand that all of this is linked back to this thing called insulin resistance. Now, with the protocol that I do, I'm not telling you you have to eat super healthy and clean because most people just can't. We're tired, we're frustrated, we're worn out. We just feel like we've tried everything and it's not working. And so you're looking at me like this is one more woman telling me I got to go do vegan, or I got to go do carnivore, or I got to go do keto, or I got to go do something that I just don't have the brain space to do. So how about we give you a protocol that helps you get your brain space back, helps you start getting your health back. And then when you start feeling better, you want to do better, but it doesn't require a tremendous amount of change. It requires a little bit of knowledge. So what that system is for me is replacing what has been stripped by the food industry so I can live healthier every single day. And that is a tea that I have in the morning, a pre-meal drink that I have before I eat anything. Yep, I'm going to show you the supplement in a second. The tea gives you mental clarity. It gives you energy. It shuts down your hunger. It allows you to burn fat for fuel. It helps you with boosting ketones, which are the little messengers telling you to burn fat instead of using insulin. And it just makes you feel good all day. It was developed as a mental health tool, but it works wonders for metabolism. So a couple of years ago, they decided to put all this together. And that's why you're just now hearing about this system, because it's only about 3 years old, although the products each are 15 and 20 or something years old. The second part of it is, now I combine it with some intermittent fasting because we just don't need to eat as often, right? Then before I have a meal, I have a fiber supplement that's actually not just fiber, but it's a pre-meal drink because we should be getting in way more fiber, but it's been stripped. And so unless you can go out and buy what they always say, eat the rainbow, which is great. And for the people who are doing that and can do that, I applaud you. But most of us just are not there. So I choose to supplement. Like, great. If you can do the vegan and you can do that, I'm all for it. Do what you can that's natural. But these are real food supplements. So this is what it is. It's a tea in the morning, right? That gives me energy, helps shut down my hunger, gives me mental clarity, doesn't make my heart rate go up, is actually causes you to have a better heart health. And then the pre-meal drink that I have before I eat anything twice a day is this. So this is my entire day. This is the protocol I use. A tea in the morning, which is actually in my mug right now, and a pre-meal drink before my first two biggest meals of the day. Now, I've been having conversation with people, and you guys, this is not a diet. This is not one of those things where, like, oh my God, this is all I can do ever. No, if you're having weddings, if you're having kids' birthdays, if you're traveling, like I know a gal who's traveling for her birthday and they're having these big plans, and she was like, well, I just don't know if I want to start the system because I don't want to be restricted. You don't have to be. You add extra. You just like for me, I have a pre before I eat anything. The system starts with one tea a day, and pre anything. So if I'm having a 2-meal day, that's what I do. I drink that before. If I decide to have a 1-meal day, I drink that before. If I decide I'm going to have 3 meals in a day, I have 3 of them. If I'm out traveling, because I want to enjoy my life too, just like everybody else. If I'm out traveling, I'm hanging out with friends and we go out for appetizers, I have one. If it takes a while, we have dinner, I have another. If I'm going to have a lot of drinks, by the way, doesn't kill my butt. I don't drink very often, but when I'm around friends once a year, then I do. I don't know why my going in and over there, Cynthia. Let me know if it's continuing. I am in a really odd place where I just found out a year after living here, there's not really any good cell tower service, so that can happen from time to time. So this is sustainable and it's flexible. And if you're interested in the system, a tea in the morning, a pre-meal drink before you eat anything in the day, show you where to find it, and then we're going to talk some more. Okay, I'm just going to take a break. We're going to show this. So this is where you find the system. Well, boy, you don't need to see that big piece of. All right. So if you're on TikTok, on my they'll be in the box. Tap on that again. We'll give you the profile. Once you're at my profile or from a video after this, you can tap on here. You just want to look for those red lights. Right there's a link. If you are on Facebook, it's going to be under the Misha Fayant banner, and if you're on YouTube, which I have pulled up for some reason, it's there as well. That will take you to my landing page that has a bunch of information. We're going to deal with ordering the system, but you'll see I have a website, I have a free ebook, I have a Facebook group, I have a way you can contact me, use whatever of that you need, because I'm here to help. So you're going to click on this to get the system, and then it should say Michelle Fayant, and then buy now. You're going to click on that. It will take you to the page where you can buy. Okay, so once you're there, what you're going to see is that you have a choice between lemon or lemon ginger for the tea. You can have that hot or cold, and I like mine cold. I like mine cold, but in the wintertime, I do like it hot. Then you get a choice between apple crush or orange for the meal. That one that you're having 10 minutes before you eat. So the apple crush is a limited time edition. I would now while you can, and save yourself the woe of I wish I would have tried it, because you can get orange anytime. There are some other flavors coming out. I just heard that maybe flavors that we're going to be sampling next. So keep your eye out for that. Now, Cynthia, let's see. Let me answer that question, Cynthia, in a second. You're going to have options for purchase. Either you can buy one time or you can be on subscription. I write a cookbook, but part of that are some feel great recipes. So things that you can have based on the tea that you're having in the morning that does not break your fast, and then some other drinks that you might just really like to add into your day. Those will go out free to my subscription people when I have that done. As soon as I have those pieces done, I'll send that ebook out. And then the rest of the recipes, there's that. Okay, so choose the subscription is what I would say, because you're going to save $5 a day. You can cancel it at any time. You're going to not have to pay shipping. If you have questions about that, reach out to me. Make sure you're purchasing it here and not Amazon or eBay or Walmart. You don't get the 90-day money-back guarantee, the best price guarantee, or the satisfaction guarantee if you buy through there, because there are no authorized sellers on those platforms. They are not authorized to sell. So some of the products, some of it's expired, some of it's just whatever, and you're paying more for it than you would through me. That's a guarantee. So, all right. Cynthia asked, when is my first meal if I'm fasting? So I'm playing with some different type of fasting on a normal day for the majority of the population, right? You're going to do in a 16 first meal somewhere around noon or 2 o'clock. It all depends on when your last of the day before was. Then you're going to have a next meal between 6 to 8 hours later. So in a normal day prior, because I'm playing with things, right? Prior, my dinner meal would be around 6 or 7, and then I would fast until around noon the next day. That's why I would have the tea in the morning, and that tea in the morning would help me with, and it still is helping me with satiety because I'm late for my meal right now. And it just gives me energy. So that intermittent fasting, I had heard about it. I was like, yep, I want to do this, but I just felt like I couldn't make it through because I was so carb addicted and sugar addicted. But I gave the system a shot, and I'm good with it now. And I do it all. Like, I just got done with a 5-day fast. I don't know how many of you guys have seen that. But I just finished a 5-day fast, and that went extremely well. So I feel really good. I'm really happy with the results. My stomach is flattening out from all the inflammation that was going on because I have no gallbladder. I feel like my energy is reviving. You guys, there's so much to do with stem cells that you're refeeding when you have fasted, this new cell growth. When you start eating after that 5-day fast, you actually start feeding those cells and you have better cellular growth. So Cynthia says, my sound is going in and out on Facebook and YouTube. So Facebook and YouTube, I'm probably going to end the stream because there's nothing with the internet connection in this particular area. I appreciate you. Reach out to me if you need me, if you want to talk more, and I will help you out. Watch for the videos that are coming today and the rest of this week. But for you guys on Facebook and YouTube, I'm going to go if the sound is actually cutting out, and I will be back tomorrow.